Hello again, and once again.
You, 4 seasons and you still can't get the intro right.
No, I'll try again. Hello, and once again, and welcome to the Anything Else podcast. I'm your lovely host, Mr. Ollie Eldrick. Alex, lean in a little bit. You're hidden behind me. Joining me in the co-host chair, I have Mr. Alex Lintz, currently chomping on some pub spuds.
Oh yeah, I am. I love pub spuds.
Joining us in the producer chair, I have Mr. Dallas Outsider.
Hello, I'm Dallas Outsider.
And joining us in the guest chair, we have Jeff. Sometimes known as Uncle Jeff, depending on who's talking about him, or Jeff from the archives, also depending on who's talking about him. Jeff, I think you, unfortunately for the introduction, I think you and I are the only one who don't have like an established relationship at this table.
No.
So Dallas, do you want to introduce our guest, I guess?
Yeah, we have Jeff O'Brien here, who is my stepdad's uncle. So,
Let's make me your step-great-uncle.
yeah, my step-great-uncle.
Or your great-step-uncle.
Yeah,
Fantastic step uncle.
a fantastic one at that.
And Alex, do you want to introduce Jeff as well?
Yeah, Jeff O'Brien is a very important piece of Saskatoon's historical community and was an integral part of my thesis in my master's.
Lovely.
And Jeff, I borrowed a PA from you once. I think that's...
Yeah. We've loaned Dallas various pieces of audio equipment
Where
over the
would
years.
the three of us be without Jeff?
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to have guests on the show. It's been a really fun season for us so far. We've been getting a lot of non-musicians on the show, people in radio, people from the internet, and now someone from the historical and academic background.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, we ended up with that last episode with Sandwich Dad, who ended up giving us like one of the greatest like public history spiels from the Yukon that I've ever heard.
Okay, so, yeah.
So we're covering our bases here. We're bringing it back home, I would assume, today a little.
Yeah, so, Jeff, obviously, we can't talk about music, as is the want of this podcast.
Right.
And I guess for you, we can't talk about archiving history,
Unless you want to.
I guess. I don't
Unless
know.
you really
Unless
want
you
to.
really want to, I guess.
Well,
I'll
I mean,
do it.
we could, because
I'm in somewhat uncharted territory.
when Dallas pitched this at me, he said, talk about your passion projects. And I had to look up what that meant, right? So a passion project is one that you do not really for money, right? Like a movie director who does a movie that he's always wanted to do, not because it's going to make him rich, but because he wants to. History's a lot like that. So in my real life, in my day job, I'm the City of Saskatoon Archivist. That pays the bills. But on the side, I write. And I always wanted to be a writer. Always from the first day I picked up a book and read it, I thought, I want to do that too. And so history has given me a chance to be a writer. And so I'll show you an example of what a passion project looks like if you're an
Absolutely.
historian. This is a book that this is called, I don't know if you can see it. This is a book called Saskatoon, A History in Photographs. It was published by Cato Books in 2006 for the Saskatoon 100th anniversary of the City of Saskatoon. And I am one of the co-authors. So me and a lady named Ruth Miller and a guy named Bill Delaney, who some of your listeners might know. Anyhow, so we did this book, the three of us, and it's a history of Saskatoon told largely in photographs, right? It's intended to be a coffee table book. It sold really well, sold out 2 printings. We would have made more money off this book if we'd gotten part-time jobs at Superstore instead. And that is kind of how local history publishing works. And I think an awful lot of publishing, most of us aren't going to be Pierre Burton or Stephen, the horror writer.
Oh, Stephen King.
Thank
Stephen
you.
King, yes.
I got stuck on Stephen Stills, and I know we're not supposed to talk about music. Anyway, so most of us aren't doing that kind of work, right? And so I write. This is my one and only book so far. But I write for a couple local magazines. Saskatoon Home is one of them, and Prairies North is another. And those pay, but they don't pay very much. At 33 cents a word, again, I'd be better off being a greeter at Walmart than I would be being a writer. But you know what? It's great. I go downtown, and someone will say, hey, you're the history guy, right? Or you're the archivist. Kath and I, my wife and I, were in, okay, I should say, as a side piece to this, for a few years, I did a gig on CTV Friday Night News with the then anchor, a guy named Rob McDonald, and we would do this history show, 3 to 5 minute, not live, but taped, on location piece of some kind of local history thing. This ran for 3.5 years, and it was immensely popular. So, and this is why people would recognize my face or my voice, because a lot of it was voiceover. Anyhow, so I would get this, be at the liquor store, and someone says, "Oh, I know you. You're that guy from CTV." Blah blah blah. So we're in Las Vegas a couple years ago, Kathy and I, and we're at a crowded street corner waiting to cross, and the couple beside us look over, and the guy says, "Hey, you're the archivist." I'm like, "Shh." I was somebody else's celebrity sighting in Las Vegas. And I have to say, that trip to Las Vegas, we saw one Elvis Presley. One. I expected the place to be, kind of thick with Elvises. Like,
I saw last time I was in Vegas. I saw an Elvis Presley in like one of those old people
Mobility scooters?
Mobility scooters, yeah.
I bet this was the same guy. He was really big, and he said, "Oh yeah, the Elvis stick, it's gone, it's dead now, but I'm the last one," or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, so this is good, right? So when I write for Saskatoon Home, for example, people read it, and then I get good feedback from it. I don't get a lot of money, but it kind of feeds my ego a little bit, but it's also good for Saskatoon, right? It's good for our history of a place. History is about community. It's about the things that connect us, the things that remind us who we are, how we got here, and why we're here, all of us together. And if you think of a city as being a collective agency, not just a bunch of individuals, but a whole united organism, then the more we sort of talk about our shared history, and the more we include people, right? Not just English and Germans and Western Europeans, but Ukrainians and people from Southeast Asia and Africa and Southern Europe, places like that. Sort of, these make our city a community, a collective. And so talking about our history helps to cement that, helps to show the bonds between us and the bridges and the links between us. So I feel like that's an important part of what I'm doing, this little side gig that I get paid 33 cents a word for. So what happens is, normally I write for Saskatoon Home, I got a hard word cap. Well, it was a hard word cap. It was 1,200 words. And then I found I couldn't write less than 1,500 words. And so I just pushed it up to 1,500. Anyway, I always write a draft that is 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 words, because my goal is, when I retire, which is going to happen sooner rather than later, I am going to write the book, right? And I still won't make any money. But it'll be kind of all these small pieces I've done, I can fold them into something much larger. So
that'd be exciting. That'd be brilliant. As we always say, I feel like everyone who has a passion project always says it's not about the money. If the money existed, it would be about the money. But it's not about the money currently, and that's fine.
It would be nice if it was about the money.
If it was about the money, he wouldn't be a historian.
And I guess that's it. I mean, you see, this is the thing about being an archivist, right? I started out doing an undergraduate degree in Canadian history, and I really liked it. But I knew that, what I was going to do? I'm going to be a prof, right? Actually, originally I wanted to be a journalist, but I couldn't get into the journalism school at U of R. They just kept saying no. Anyway, so anyway, I found out about this program at UBC for archival studies, and it said right on the brochure, it said our graduates get jobs, and I'm like, that's what I would like, as a job, and it was one of the few ways you can take a history degree and parlay into a decent paying job.
Yep.
And so here I am, 30 years later, City of Saskatoon archivist, and making decent money. I'm not getting rich, but I don't have to get rich. I just have to have enough to pay the bills and keep me in beer and Skittles. I don't know what Skittles are. Keep the lights on. So anything else is gravy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a fantastic way of being able to use your expertise and your passion and stuff, and it gets out into the world more, which I think is a fantastic thing to be able to do.
Yes, and my powers that be like it. The city likes. We do a lot of outreach and education at the city archives. Again, mostly that's me and my PowerPoint machine. I go into the community and I talk to groups and organizations and go to public events. And I've actually brought my little roadshow to someone's Christmas party. They were all nerds, right? It was a very nerdy Christmas party to have a historian talking about history at it, showing pictures, telling stories is how I do it. But that's sort of part of what we do at the city archives, and it's been good for my institution and good for my organization.
That sounds terribly dull. Having to listen to a historian go off at a party. How much is it? How much? You can hire this. You say fantastic.
Well, actually, because it's my job, we do it for free.
That would be fantastic.
So-
Oh, that would be terrible. Oh, it's a shame we haven't got any celebrations coming up because that would be so terrible to have.
Well,
Just letting you guys know that I'd hate that.
For you, are you saying for your birthday you want us to get Jeff to come and give you a presentation?
I'll take him, sandwich it. I'll take anyone. If I could sit on the floor and be told stories
I'll
about
set up
history,
I'll set up the
great
screen and projector.
Yeah,
Sure.
Else can do the slides.
I do try to keep it light, so that it's entertaining, because it's embarrassing when people fall asleep and then they fall off their chair and they hit their head and then ambulances come, and so I try to avoid that. So if they're laughing, they're listening. If they're listening, they're learning.
Yes.
Right? So always go for the cheap gag. Always. Yeah.
It keeps people on their toes. It keeps people listening. It's fantastic. I used to do it with teaching all the time, throw in an occasional blue joke, and it keeps them
Yep.
kind of on the ball a little bit, which is fantastic. Have you tried? I've got to ask. I always like to ask people when they do some writing. Have you ever tried your hand at any fiction or historical fiction?
Absolutely. I have a book I'm working on right now. It's a murder mystery. It's set in Saskatoon just after the Second World War, and it's got elements of history and archives and Saskatoon. And I have a publisher who has been chatting me up a little bit.
That's awesome.
So
That's fantastic.
So nobody said, "Oh, here's a deal." Let's. But I have a publisher who is interested in it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's awesome.
Fingers crossed.
I've read a couple of books set in cities that I've lived in, I've been very intimately familiar with, and there is a certain joy with reading fiction that is, you can follow the map as it goes.
Well, yeah, it's like watching a movie that's shot in like a city that you are in.
Yeah.
Like whenever I see a movie that's been shot in Winnipeg, I'm just like, oh, I've been there.
So the idea, reading a book set in Saskatoon would be fantastic. Being like, I know that street.
Yeah.
I've been down there. It's fantastic.
Well, 1947 is a long time ago, right? So a lot of the specific memories won't exist for anybody reading it, but because the city has changed. But yes, you're right. That element of familiarity, and that's one of the things that drives local publishing, is that whole thing, including with local history. Including
Absolutely.
books like this, where people go, "Oh yeah, I know that." Okay, so here's a story. I'm giving a presentation to a group, Rotary Club, I think it was. And I'm showing a picture of the snake dance. So the university students used to do this thing called the snake dance, where they would all the students would go out downtown and they would all hold hands in this big long line, and they'd wind in and out of traffic all down on 2nd Avenue downtown. They go into all the bars and the movie theaters. So for a lot of people, be their first time in a bar was doing the snake dance through one of the downtown pubs. Anyway, so I'm telling the story and I'm showing this picture, and this old guy in the back sticks up his hand. He says, "Oh yeah, I took that picture." And he'd been a photographer for the Star. It was a Star Phoenix photo from 1957, and he'd been a photographer for the Star Phoenix in 1957, and he took that exact photo. So here I am telling his story, right? So and that's the joy, the glory of local history, is it really is about the people that you're talking to.
Yeah.
Well, you and I had a conversation before about doing a series of mini episodes about different small town
Yeah.
in the prairies and finding their common roots. Because it's something I've said before is like, people live in places for a reason. It might not be a particularly exciting reason. It might be there was a water source there. That's where the railroad stopped or whatever. But it still begins to form a cohesive narrative or through line. And it's wonderful to explore. And I don't think a lot of people take the time to appreciate why they live where they do and what's happened there because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fantastic when people do, things like this and sort of explore that and ask the why questions and stuff and extrapolate on that.
Well, sure, and for small town Saskatchewan, I mean, that's a part of our society and our culture that's going away,
Yeah.
right, and has been going away for a long time. One time, Saskatchewan was 80% rural, and nowadays the numbers are exactly opposite, and so people in my generation, when I went to university, undergraduate, lots of the guys I went to school with were farm kids.
Yeah.
Right? But they were all leaving the farm, and the next generation, it's even more, right? So eventually, who knows what will happen to rural Saskatchewan? But it's a story worth telling because people still remember it, but they won't for much longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a shame because a lot of the rural settlements have gone. I mean, where you're from is a prime example of that. I mean, how many Lavinia, Decker?
Like right around my family farm, there's about 3 ghost towns that used to be. Well, my dad went to school for the first 6 or 7 years of his life
In a town that doesn't
in
exist.
a town that doesn't exist
Wow.
anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just down the road from my house back home. Like,
The road my in-laws live on, the towns on either side of that, Osborne and Davis, don't exist anymore.
yeah,
They're still on the map because Google Maps uses, old ordnance, not ordnance surveys.
well, the amount of cairns you see driving down gravel roads where it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
this
it
used to
used
be the
a school
town
here.
of-
Used to be, yeah. So
And I think it's wild that the towns have gone. That's
Yeah.
the thing. But I guess it's arable land. Farmers are going to farm.
yeah,
But it's strange to think, you're going down, like going through Lavinia, there's nothing left of that.
yeah.
But there's also towns. If you look at old maps, there are lots of towns that never did exist.
Yes,
Right.
a lot of paper towns or
Yeah,
a
they were
lot.
just a siding.
Yeah.
Archive, Saskatchewan, which is I don't know where it is, but it's literally a sign by the railway, and it never has been anything else.
Yeah.
Or my one of my roommates from university was from Fertile, Saskatchewan, just across the valley from Sterile, Saskatchewan, and again, all it was a post office.
Yeah.
It was never a town, just a spot on a map.
It's I did a road trip a few years ago through the United States, and I took a detour to go to Intercourse, Pennsylvania,
Oh dear.
and that is just a crossroads. There's nothing more there. It is one of those places that you see on the map, but it doesn't really exist in real life.
Probably just as well.
Yeah, probably for the.
for the better.
Have you ever come across the term paper town or like
No,
fictional towns?
no, but I think I get the
They're
idea.
copyright traps usually. They were copyright traps usually done by mapmaker cartographers, where they would put in small, crossroad towns, and if you put them on your map, they'd be like, "Hey, that's ours. You're using our
You're
information."
using our info. That's hilarious.
But there's one famous example of a place in New York State called Agloe, which was Agloe, Agloe.
Oh right, yeah, Agloe, yeah.
Agloe was a fictional town, as a paper town that was put in as a copyright trap by I can't remember who it was. But it was a combination of like the starting sounds of the two cartographers' last names. It was like Agnes and Lowe or something like that.
Okay.
It's so it's a fictional town. Another map maker, another map provider, uses a map that has Agloe, New York on it. So it goes into a court case. But they defend and say it's a real place. And it turns out in the time between the two maps being made, someone on this crossroads where nothing actually existed set up a general store called the Agloe General Store, thus turning a paper town into a real town.
That's good.
But
That's
then,
clever.
then the general store eventually closed down again.
Yeah.
It's still, did want to take a visit to it, but I didn't manage to get out that way. So it's gone back to being once again a fictional town,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And I have never heard of that happening here, but I'm sure it does. But you look at older maps, and there are the railways put a town every 7 miles, or
Yeah.
every few miles there was another town site. Most of them were never developed as anything.
Speculation. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Speculation with the railroads?
yeah.
Unheard of.
That's why Moose Jaw exists.
Are you saying that railroad barons were unscrupulous individuals? That would,
Potentially. Yeah.
next you'll be telling me that Brandon named a street after one.
Hey, man. General Rosser was a
A man.
Confederate general.
Well, I'll tell you what I always say about the railways is that if you live in Saskatoon, if the railway hadn't come to Saskatoon, the railway comes to Saskatoon in 1890. They build it's a line that runs from Regina to Prince Albert, and they decide to cross the river here in Saskatoon. And at that time, Saskatoon is just Nutana, right? Broadway and Maine, the little temperance colony settlement. But when the railway came, if the railway had never come to Saskatoon, this is what I say to people: if the railway had never come to Saskatoon, do you know what would be here where Saskatoon is now? You know those signs on the side of the road that say "point of interest" that no one ever stops at? That's what would be where Saskatoon is,
Yep.
because it would have been the only reason Saskatoon continued to exist, is because this is where they built the railway. If they built if they'd crossed the river, 10 miles upstream or downstream, they'd have moved. Saskatoon would have moved there too.
Yep.
Because you wouldn't be anywhere else, and we see that again and again in Saskatchewan, where people settled ahead of the railway. Then when they built the line through, they built the line a few miles over, and so they picked up the town and they moved in.
Yep.
So I always say to people, I know. I says you're sitting there you're waiting for the train to go by, and it's la 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 la, and I say, oh my God, you're backing up. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
But without the railway, there is no Saskatoon. So.
Yep. Well, that's what happened in Manitoba with Brandon and the small town of Rapid City is Rapid City was originally thinking, oh, we'll get a railroad kind of thing. And then, General Rosser decided, no, we're going to go by Brandon because used to be a Hudson Bay Company post there. And they went and decided, like, oh, there's a settlement here. It's better this way. Let's cut through the valley. And so Brandon got the railway and became the big city. And Rapid City is a very small town about half an hour from Brandon.
And then with the death of passenger rail, we're now seeing the second wave of these towns going away again.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, although I think having Saskatchewan Transit Company, the STC, made living in small towns possible because you didn't have to drive to get to Saskatoon from whatever small town you're living in, and that's gone away too. So, but yes, the 80s and 90s, the railways were busily tearing up branch lines left, right, and center, abandoning lines, and when the lines went, the line went, the elevator went, and then the town went.
It's a shame because I love a good branch line.
You love a good grain elevator too.
I do love a good grain elevator. Right?
Really?
So I grew up in coal mining country in the UK, and so a lot of towns, their symbol is the mine heads, the winding tower.
Okay.
And even after town, all the collieries are closed now, but a lot of the towns still mark their welcome signs are old winding wheels, these huge things that took people up and down the mine shafts, and they'll just bury them half in the ground, and that's the welcome sign. And so it kind of fills the same role that the grain elevator fills in small town Saskatchewan. That's the industry, that's the symbol of the town's wealth, the town's economic strength. And I just find that kind of nifty. I like these sort of very obvious signs of the culture and the economy of a place. I just think it's quite cool. And they just look kind of nice.
Well, Prairie Giants, there's a book out called Prairie Giants. Prairie Twins, maybe, is one of the other. Anyway, but yeah, and we all, they're instantly recognizable. There's a great photograph of them moving a grain elevator.
Yes.
And do you know the one? Like,
yeah.
And you see them, people move houses all the time. Not so much now as they used to. It used to be pretty common.
Yeah.
Not so much now. But there's one, I'm looking, and there's this grain elevator. It's like, it gave me vertigo just looking at it. I'm waiting for it to, I don't know how they do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No.
Well, especially back when it was like a wooden structure like that of that size and like not built to be moved.
No.
No. At least some of the houses were somewhat built with the mind that they might move. But yeah, I don't think the grain elevator was ever.
Well, they're not taller than a house isn't generally taller than it is wide.
No. Well, actually, do you know what they did move recently in Sweden? I don't know if you saw photos of it. Is they moved a church, a 200-year-old brick church, from one side of the town to another.
Wow.
And that's quite interesting pictures. They just hopped it onto the back of a very large semi, effectively. I guess what's twice as big as a semi? A one?
Get out of here. Shut up.
There you go.
But yeah, they put it on the back of and they just move it. And it's a really interesting picture of just this church being moved. It's very odd.
Great. Well, it's it was a very common thing in Saskatoon. After the Second World War, people moved houses. There was a big kind of boom in Saskatoon after the war. The population really increased quickly and outstripped the housing supply. And one way they dealt with that was pick up a house on the cheap from some small town, because the small towns were dying in the 1940s too, and then move it into Saskatoon. But a lot of the houses they moved in were shit.
Yeah.
I mean, and so it's pictures that you look at of the fringes of Saskatoon, and they're like these shanty towns, these little crappy houses sitting on cinder block piles, right? Not foundations. And in the back there'll be an outhouse because they're not on the sewer and water lines. And there was all these, and people complained, sort of nonstop. But the provincial housing code was fine with it.
Yep.
The house had to be intact. It didn't have to be painted. And so we had some really shabby neighborhoods in the 40s and early 1950s. And eventually we kind of caught up with it. But apparently one of the issues with moving houses is that you have to pay for every power line you cross under. And in 1946 or 1950, there were lots of places in Saskatoon with no power lines. Now, you can't spit without hitting a power line. And so moving even a little house gets a lot more expensive.
I can imagine, yeah.
So I did. I had a guy. So there was a house in Saskatoon, the Billy Silverwood House, which used to be across from City Hospital on Queens Drive, down by the river, and it was a large. Billy Silverwood was a real estate developer and um, a bottled water. A water bottler. He bottled water
Yeah.
back in the days before we had water treatment here. So he would get spring water and bottle it and sell it to restaurants. And he also bred horses. He had a huge barn on the up in Silverwood Heights. The neighborhood is named after him. Anyway, so Billy Silverwood had pretty good money, and he built himself this great big brick and stone house on Queen Street by the river, and never lived in it. It eventually became the home for unwed mothers, run by the Salvation Army, the Bethany Home for young girls who found themselves in a family way. And then about, I don't remember exactly when, comparatively recently anyway, Bethany Home finally moved out of the Billy Silverwood house, and it went up for sale, and nobody was willing to buy it. So finally somebody bought it, but they didn't want the house, they just wanted the land. So this a local developer comes along, and he gets the house for $1, I think is how that works, with the agreement that he's going to take it off the property. Well, he has a lot for it, and he couldn't get a permit to move it. The problem was the property he had to move it onto meant he had to go across the University Bridge, and the house was this great big long 2-story brick and stone house that was too heavy for the bridge, and so they had this. It was a beautiful house, you know. Part of what I do is architectural heritage and sort of built heritage, and my tagline is you can't keep all of them, but you have to keep some of them.
Yeah.
And this house was one of those probably should have kept, because not just because of its architecture, but because of the role it played in Saskatoon for all these years and the things that it symbolized. And unfortunately, it just wasn't movable. And in the end, the land was worth more than the house, and that was the end of that.
Which is a shame, really.
It is. It is.
Because there aren't that many historic residences obviously the city is only 100 years old, and to an Englishman like me. But there aren't that many historically significant, as far as I'm aware. I might be wrong. I hope I am. I'm only really aware of a couple, the Marne and a couple more that remain. There are quite a few buildings on the Heritage Register in Saskatoon, and some of them are more sort of historically significant than others. A lot of them will be things that are architecturally interesting, and so that's one of the criteria is the architecture. What does the house represent in architectural terms? And so an example of how this didn't work out was one of the very first houses in Saskatoon. Was on the corner of Broadway and Main. It was on Main Street, just off Broadway. And in the 1950s, a company was had bought the property to make a parking lot for their business, and they were going to tear this house down. And there was an uproar about it. And so a bunch of money was raised, enough money to pick this house up and move it to the Western Development Museum, where it then sat until the 1980s. And so they called it the Temperance Colony House, and it was literally the oldest house in Saskatoon at the time. And so it was historically very symbolic of our own particular roots, but architecturally it was not interesting, right? Lots of other examples of that kind of style. It didn't sort of tell any architectural story. It didn't have any really cool architectural details. You couldn't say, oh, it's a Queen Anne or a blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so when the house was in terrible shape in the 1980s. And the museum went to the province and said, look, we want some money to restore this house. The province said, no, it's not worth restoring because it's not architecturally valuable. But what I know is that a house is just a box with people in it, right? It doesn't really matter what shape the box is. What really matters is the people that lived in it. And even things that are architecturally interesting are only architecturally interesting because of the connections we make to the people that used to live there, right? And this is just as true in Saskatoon as it is in the UK.
Yeah.
And I know, I've talked to people about architectural heritage here, and they just laugh. And a friend of mine says, she's from Ireland, and she says, my parents' house has windows that are older than the oldest house in Saskatoon. And she's totally not wrong. And so it's you take what you've got.
Oh, 100%.
So we have lots of houses that have sort of local significance that are attached to the names of people who had, who are important or interesting in Saskatoon's history. But yes, you're right. The history here is a little bit thin. And as an archivist working in Saskatoon, I look at my collection and I go, wow, I got stuff going back to 1902.
Yeah.
And then I remember that my grandfather was born in 1864.
What do you think we should move into some of our regular schedule?
We can move into some of the
programming,
regular
you think?
segments.
Awesome.
Jeff, this one you might have a little bit. Dallas, actually, do you have any final questions?
Oh,
for
yes.
Jeff?
Rowdy Roddy Piper went to a school here in Saskatoon. I don't know what school, but I don't know if you know anything about that.
Roderick Toombs was born in 1954 in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And then he later on went on to fame as Rowdy Roddy Piper.
There we go.
Do you feel good, Dallas?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. You'll have a fairly good advantage coming from a historical background with this first question that I'm going to have for you. The first segment is just called Who Dis. I'm going to give you the name of a real person from history. I'm not expecting you to know who they are. I just want you to tell me who you think they are based on the name alone.
Okay.
If you do know who they are, bully for you.
All right. If I do know who they are, do you want me to tell you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll let you be smug about it.
All right,
your
good.
your person today is Louis the Universal Spider.
Oh, I went to school with him. So Louis was. It was the girls who named him that because Louis was a bad man to be in a crowded bus with. Sometimes Louis's hands got where Louis didn't mean them to go. So so we used to call him the Gropester. But yeah. Yeah, no, I have no idea.
I do like that. I think I like that
I
more.
believed him for a second.
I know who this is. I know who this is, and I was like, Jeff wasn't born 700 years ago. He was Louis the XI of France. Was called the Universal Spider for the malicious webs of lies he weaved,
Okay.
and possibly for the women he groped on city transit
on
as
city
well. But I
buses.
don't know for sure. This next one again. Going from you being recognized in Las Vegas, you are gonna. I need to know your equivalent for that. This is Brush with Fame. What is your least interesting celebrity encounter, or least impressive?
Like you saw someone get off a bus somewhere.
I literally ran into Bruno Gerussi going into a bar one time.
Fantastic.
Okay, so Bruno Gerussi was a star of the Beachcombers, which was a CBC show. It was actually pretty big back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And when we had two channels. And the Beachcombers was filmed in Gibsons, BC. And then in summer of 1985, I worked out of Gibsons as a freelance writer, actually. And one day I was going into a bar, and I bumped into this guy, and he said, "Oh, sorry." And then I realized it was Bruno Gerussi.
That's fantastic. Did you have any further follow-up interactions with him, or was
No,
that...
that was the limit of
awesome.
it.
That's the perfect Brush with Fame.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he answered.
Alex, you have the next segment.
All right, it's
with
time for everybody's favorite part of this podcast, which is Are You Smarter Than Dallas Outsider?
We will see if you can beat your step
This is
grandnephew.
the first time the guests actually heard the theme music for the
Yeah,
for the segment.
actually, yeah.
Because usually I'm the one wearing the
We're
headphones.
going to test your mental acumen. You get home field advantage, so we'll prop the question to you first. It's the best of 5. If you get it wrong, we pass it to Dallas, who gets a go after you.
This season we're playing the Logo board game, so it's all based on brands and companies and stuff like that.
Sure.
So your guys' first category here is celebrity endorsers.
Okay.
What popular comedian and sitcom star was the spokesperson for Jell-O pudding?
Oh.
Oh, I know this one. He went to jail. No, oh, come on.
Ooh.
Hey. Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
Yes.
Bill Cosby. Did you know that one?
Yeah,
Bill?
I did. Yeah.
I'm going like, I know exactly what this. We had all his albums. We used to listen to Bill Cosby albums.
Oh, that's
in my-
Bing Cosby.
growing up. And, no, Bill Cosby. Do comedy albums.
Oh.
That was a good one, though.
Bing
He didn't
Crosby.
mean it to be one.
Yeah, you just unwittingly made a really good joke. Question 2. The King of Pop, Michael Jackson, did TV ads for what other famous pop?
No idea.
Is it Pepsi?
It's Pepsi Cola.
And it's also where he he claims that the skin lightening began was with a fire that happened
Oh yeah,
on the set of a Pepsi commercial.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
his
Well,
hair caught fire.
I saw that interview. Now that you mention it, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's one for one.
One for one.
1 and 1. Okay. Your next category here, this card is gold is your category.
Okay.
All right. A brand of lotions and other products that fight itching and irritated skin.
Sorry, the category is gold.
Gold.
Ray-Ban.
No.
A brand of lotion?
Yeah,
that
among
fights-
other things.
Among other things. Is it? I don't know. I just have a Vino in my head. It's probably not that.
No.
Is it L'Oreal?
No, it's Gold Bond.
Gold.
Oh.
Right.
That makes
All right. Still 1 and 1. Name the workout chain that began more than 40 years ago in Venice Beach, California.
Oh, I know this.
Workout chain.
Gold's Gym.
Gold's Gym.
Oh. I went to Gold's Gym.
Did you?
I
Did
did.
you go there or did you just use the sauna?
No, they didn't have a sauna there.
Is that why you stopped going?
Yeah.
2 to Jeff, 1 to Dallas. So let's see if Dallas can tie it up with this 5th question.
All right. Some 19% of adult males in the U.S. read what magazine each week?
Playboy.
No.
What's
This,
that one?
this is no longer gold, by the way.
Oh, what's the category?
Just potluck.
Potluck?
It's just random
Oh.
questions.
Is it men's fitness magazine, men's
Manly Man?
health? Yeah,
Oily
manly men.
No, it's not. Sports Illustrated.
Oh, that was the one I was thinking of.
Jeff was a lot closer.
Only 19%.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
That was
of,
five. That was 5 questions. So,
Yeah. So you've been defeated again.
all right.
Well, Jeff, you might be the city of Saskatoon Archivist, but you are also now smarter than Dallas Outsider. I'm sure you already knew that, though.
I would say there's a family connect for our next segment. I would say there's a family connection between you and Dallas, and that you're both wordsmiths. So of course
I used to tell my students when I was TAing in my master's, your professors aren't inherently smarter than you. They've just read more books than you. But in this case, I am going to say Dallas Jeff is, I think, just inherently smarter than you as well.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
I know. I'm
But-
the HR here, so
But as I say,
He is one of my favorite great nephews.
One of.
But as I say, Dallas also does some writing. His wordsmithing is somewhat more based around brevity than yours. You have written and accomplished some fantastic non-fiction and hopefully soon fiction being published. Dallas is more of a self-published man. He uses Twitter. And I'm going to read for you one of Dallas's wonderful tweets that he blesses the public space with for free, which is, "I have no ketchup and I must ard."
And I must what?
mustard.
Ard?
Yeah,
A-R-D?
yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, that's good, though. That's brilliant. Brilliant. I laughed, I cried, it became a part of me.
But Jeff, these next ones are just opinion-based. These are our quick-fire questions. There is no right or wrong answer. These are just to build a psychological profile of you for the listener
The
and any
FBI.
intelligence agencies listening in.
Okay.
Question 1. What is your favorite Will Smith movie?
Independence Day.
It's a solid
That's a
answer.
good
It's
choice.
a popular one on this program so far. Question 2. What are the best fries for a poutine?
I hate poutine.
Really?
Oh, I don't.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, what are the best
Best
fries?
Yeah, what are the best?
New York fries.
Okay. Oh.
Hey, yeah. There you go. There you
Although,
go.
okay, when I was a kid, Mom would cut up potatoes and cook them in the in the pot with the basket, and those were great French
Oh,
fries
yeah.
too. But for fast food kind of commercial, New York fries.
I've never been to New York fries.
It's phenomenal.
It's great.
There's one in
the mall.
Midtown Mall.
Yeah,
I think
center-
every mall every mall you go to.
Center.
Fantastic.
So when my son Joey's 23 now, but when he was about 3, we would go to Circle Center Mall every Saturday for fries and a Coke, and we got a big thing of fries, and we'd have a drink each, and we would do this thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That's sweet. Wild you don't like poutine. Moving on.
I don't either.
No, I know you don't. It's a point of contention in our relationship. What would be your gladiator weapon?
Well, now that's a good question. So certainly not the trident and net. That's just crazy. I think I'd want to go for a short sword and a medium shield.
Yeah.
Maybe not a short sword, but a medium sword. Okay, so wait a minute. Am I built like a gladiator or am I built like me?
That's a great one.
We've never considered that.
Okay, because if it's the latter, my gladiator weapon is running shoes. And of course, I fence. I'm a competitive fencer, which is pretty good when you're 63.
awesome.
Yeah, I fence foil. I fenced for years and years, and then when I was in 2001, when we were pregnant for my son Joey, my wife says to me, "Listen, I'm not spending my weekends in a smelly gym with a screaming baby," and so I retired in 2001. But I came back a couple years ago, so I'm still out there fighting, but. Fencing foil is not a useful weapon in a gladiatorial combat unless your opponent has fencing foils.
Yes. The fencing foil is the superior weapon against only the fencing foil.
Jujitsu of swords.
It really is. Even the fencing saber has a little bit more weight behind it. You can at least give someone a concussion with that.
But I think I would go for it's kind of a one-handed broadsword and a smaller shield.
I think in Roman, I think those are gladiarius.
The gladius, yeah, but that's a very short sword. And so you really got to get in close.
Yeah.
I think I might want some a little bit longer.
An arming sword, medieval arming sword, or
I guess so.
something like that.
Not a cutlass.
Yes.
Because again, a cutlass, that's all. There isn't a lot of point there.
No, there isn't. It's more of a cutting blade. No one ever says AR-15, and I still think that would win.
Well, I guess we're assuming that that's not in
A tactical nuclear weapon
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Bazooka.
Words.
within the subset of weapons that we're allowed to choose
pen.
from. That's what-
Ben, my wits.
Question 4. What is the best games console?
the one you're most familiar with.
Ooh,
It's a philosopher.
I was going to say that's a very political answer, and I dig it deeply.
Okay, I like Xbox, but my son plays the same games on a PC and far prefers it. So,
Yeah.
and I speak as someone who's a gamer but not a really hardcore gamer. So I played WoW and I played the Fallout games and okay. So when Kath and I got married in 1999, and that Christmas, I guess, my parents gave us an N64.
Oh.
And we got the game Mario Kart.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
now it's, almost 30 years later, and Kath and I still play Mario Kart on the N64.
That's great.
I think
yeah,
I think I've been to like a party or something that you brought that out. I've seen a bunch of people play the N64.
Who's more
Mario
likely to
Kart.
win?
Well, that's funny because back in the day she always won, and then now I always win. So I'm not sure what
Her skills have
changed.
slipped.
Well, that or the controllers are getting old, and the ones she likes might not. But so the problem with N64 playing it in a modern, like on a modern TV, is because the TVs now are much bigger than the ones we used to use, and so it's pretty pixely.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
we did get a Nintendo Switch, and we did get the new Mario Kart game, which is an amalgam of all the Mario Kart games that have come, but they're all changed. And what we really wanted was our Mario Kart game with our, what we're used to, but with better graphics. And instead, we're like, nah. And they nerfed it out really badly. So it's like
The original few Mario Karts were a little savage, but they were fun.
Once you fell off, you fall off the edge, and then you gotta wait till you come back up again, and wait and wait, and now you're on this tether, it just kind of yanks you back up, and you don't lose any time at all. Because apparently children today can't handle failure.
That also just kind of reminded me, Dallas, of that one time that when we found out that one of my PlayStation 2 controllers, the square button, no longer works. We were playing Mortal Kombat together, and for some reason, Tekken.
Tekken.
We were playing Tekken together, and I couldn't beat Dallas. He just kept beating me over and over and over again. I was like,
And
how
Alex
are you
refused to
doing
believe
this?
that it was just
and then
because
we
Dallas
found out
was
it's because the
better.
square button wasn't working on my controller. I was like, how can't I hit you?
Yeah, kind of need those controllers. Absolutely.
Question 5. What is your favorite meal of the day?
I quit smoking a long time ago, and because Kathy insisted, because we were going to have a baby. And so, and had been a smoker for a long time, and I just quit. And she brings me coffee and yogurt in bed every day. And that's my favorite meal.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The amount of people who take that question and instantly start talking about, oh, you know, I used to smoke. I don't know what the subliminal thing of that question is that, like,
There's nothing better than a cigarette and a hot tea or coffee in the morning.
I guess, but yeah, like that instantly evokes that for people for some reason. Somebody got to write a psychology paper on that.
Question 6. What planet would you kick from the roster? A lot of people talk about bringing back Pluto or
Well,
increasing to include all the dwarf planets if they're being a little bit more egalitarian. But I want to know if you're being vindictive, who's next on the chopping block?
Well, we totally need Jupiter, right? It keeps the inner system clean. Without Jupiter, we'd be in a lot more danger from flying rocks. So Jupiter matters. Mars, we could live there someday. Venus is so shiny.
Yeah.
Mercury, you got to feel bad for Mercury. It's right there. It's the hot one, right? Can you imagine being Mercury? It's out all the time. And, you're going anyway. So I'd kick out Uranus, but what would you do?
So you're left with Neptune and Saturn.
And Neptune and Saturn. Saturn's got those pretty rings. If you actually, even any kind of decent telescope, if the rings are in the right, if the Saturn's the right way, you can see the rings. I'm running out of candidates here. Neptune's so pretty. It's blue, right? And Neptune helped us discover Pluto. And I got to tell you, I'm still pissed about Pluto.
Yeah?
Okay? Oh, yeah. Pluto was exciting. It was like this. I remember reading about the solar system when I was a kid, and there's this, this last planet way, way out there in the darkness, so far away that it hasn't even gone a full revolution in the time that I've been alive. And it's just this lonely thing drifting through the darkness. And I always felt like kind of a connection to Pluto. So I guess I would have to pick one of the trans-Plutonians, one of the Kuiper Belt objects. Maybe because they're dwarf planets, we take 2 of them and toss them both out.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
That's how we treat Dallas.
Yeah.
He's a dwarf
Question
kicker.
7. What is your go-to road trip snack?
I like sandwiches.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
Homemade, or are you picking them up at a gas station?
homemade, right? So white bread, ham, roast beef, cucumber, peanut butter and lettuce, which is an old family favorite. One day, Mom was making sandwiches for a bunch of kids, and someone asked for peanut butter, and someone asked for ham and lettuce, and somebody got peanut butter and lettuce sandwiches, and it stuck.
I
right?
got lettuce on my peanut butter. I got peanut butter on my lettuce.
Say
Well-
that again.
Imagine a peanut butter sandwich that doesn't stick to the roof of your mouth. Right?
Yeah.
So
The
it
dream.
takes out the gooiness of it. So that's what I like. A little package of 3 or 4 sandwiches. Has to be white bread, although we don't normally eat white bread in my house because Kathy's fussy about it. And that's my go-to.
If you're taking 3 or 4, are we taking a variety of sandwiches
Yeah.
then? Are you picking blindly, or are we going through a set order?
No, just whatever comes out. Cut them in half, and you've got, if you got 3 sandwiches, you got 6 grabs, and whatever you grab, that's what you get.
Living life on the edge.
I know, right?
Question 8. Who is your favorite corporate overlord?
Elon Musk.
Interesting.
Nah, just
Question-
because the man's such a dick. Okay, wait. Is that a serious question?
I mean, none of these are.
Yes, it
it's
defines
It's a
serious.
Sunday afternoon on a podcast about 40 people listen to. It's nothing super serious here.
Okay. Well, I feel like there could be a better answer with deeper significance, but all those tech bros, have got such a bad kind of odor about them. And I never really was a fan of robber baron capitalists to start with. So, or I might say, Rockefeller, Carnegie. There's irony. There's irony.
At
for
least,
you.
at least there's a sense of noblesse oblige with the older barons.
Well, maybe you like the
Worth
idea
for
that
Sunday, isn't it?
Ugh.
like a guy like Carnegie, right, who basically, savages the lives of millions of people working in his mills, and then tries to buy his way into heaven by buying libraries for cities around the
Yeah.
world.
That's something,
Yay.
at least.
Bully for you there, pal. Guess what? Still burning.
Question 9. If you had to travel to every country in the world, I assume with about 6 sandwiches per place, where would you go last?
The USA.
All right.
That's probably not true. There are all sorts of places in the world there's no way I'm going to visit because they're just crazy there. You know,
Like
but-
Burnley.
Sorry?
Like Burnley, he says.
Well, it'll be. I tell you, we're not going to the USA anytime soon. Once things settle down a bit there, we'll think about it. Right now, it's on the no-fly list.
I'd love to head back to Chicago soon, but I think I'll give it a hot second at the moment.
Well, it's unfortunate because there's so many cool things to see in America. There's so many interesting people, and it's like a closed door now. So
Yeah.
the problem is, if I was to cross a border and some asshole said, "Look at my phone, give me your phone," I'd tell him to fuck off, and I would do it without even thinking about it, and then we would all be in trouble.
Yeah.
And then you're in the windowless room with the
Yeah,
masked
I
man
know.
again.
And I gotta pee because I'm 63 years old.
And then the problems, that's the biggest of the problems I think you're in. Just where do you pee? And question 10, the last of the quick fires. Got milk?
No,
No. Al,
I'll tell you a story about that.
please do.
You don't have to hear it.
Oh, I do, I think.
I was violently allergic to milk as a child, as a baby, as an infant, and they didn't know it. This is like 1962, right? And they didn't know it, and so we got my dad got transferred from Saskatoon to Gander, Newfoundland. Dad was a meteorologist, a weather forecaster, and he comes home one day, and he says, "Well, if I'm going to be any good at this job, I got to go where the weather is. And apparently there's more weather per capita in Gander, Newfoundland than anywhere else in the world." So we hopped in a plane and we moved to Gander. Well, I had this terrible milk allergy. There are probably people still alive today who remember that awful trip on Air Canada to Gander, Newfoundland with a screaming baby in the back. And yeah, so that's my milk story. Anyway, they eventually figured out it was a milk allergy after I threw up on a doctor. He said, "He's allergic to milk." And they put me on some kind of soybean extract. So I never got used to milk.
So even to this day?
No. I mean, sometimes I like it with salad. A salad. That would be weird. I like it with cereal. And I've never tried it with salad, and maybe I would love it with salad because I like peanut butter with lettuce sandwiches. But no. So
Going into-
cheese. I love cheese. I'm clearly not allergic to milk anymore, but yeah, I never got into the habit.
I do like the idea of walking into a restaurant. Do you have any milk-based salads for me? I only do milk-based salads. No oil, no vinaigrettes.
Well, but what about coleslaw? I guess that's egg, right? Mayonnaise.
Yeah, again,
Mayonnaise,
that's
yeah.
egg. Is there a butter? Ranch is buttermilk based.
Oh yeah, I hate ranch dressing.
Same.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I've got used to some things over here, but ranch is not one of them,
No, absolutely not.
and I refuse at this point.
How about Dallas' tartar sauce?
No, don't even.
Oh,
You might as well tell him.
So we were having was it for my birthday or was it
for your
opening
bir-
day
was your-
baseball?
No, it was your birthday.
Okay, and so Dallas said he was gonna make
Relish.
yeah, he was gonna make relish. He was like, "Oh, it's my grandma's relish recipe. It's gonna be great." And we're like, "Okay, sure." So he's in my kitchen. He's doing his thing, and then we go and check in on him. We're like, "Dallas, that doesn't look like relish."
And he's made a huge.
very like a popcorn bowl amount, and I'm just like, "Dallas, that doesn't look like relish.
It is
like, what are you
white
doing?"
with green bits.
And he's
in it.
like asking for ingredients, and I'm just like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "No, trust me. This is my grandma's recipe. This is gonna be great." And I'm like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Oh, the last thing I need is relish. Oh, I'm making tartar sauce." And we're like, "Dallas, you made so much tartar sauce."
The only two people who wanted relish were me and Dallas. I like relish. I fucking hate tartar sauce. We were having hot dogs. This is
A popcorn bowl of tartar sauce.
But can you have too much tartar sauce?
yes. Turns out very easily.
Yeah, what's the last thing you need? Relish. Oh no.
So it's time to be charitable from Alex.
Oh yeah, so this is a segment. This is my favorite segment on the podcast. This is Do You Want This? So I bring in just a surprise, just something I grab from my house and I offer it to the guest. So this time, I've got these Persian candies that I've got from my house. Do you want this, Jeff?
Can I know more about them?
They're chocolate based, I think.
Are they? I
Are
don't.
these the one that the chocolate
Well, let's
based?
open one and see.
I haven't actually had one myself.
I'll
Dallas will
open
be
it.
Show
the
the
taster.
camera, Dallas.
It's gonna be.
I mean, I'm a fan of candy. There's no question about it.
It's
Is
stored
it,
in.
is it in Persian, Dallas? If it's
Yeah,
in
it's-
Farsi, you can't read it.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
like Dallas. There's not going to be any English on that. It's from Iran.
I would love to take your Persian candies.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. You're very
Here.
kind.
Dallas still wants one.
Here's what it looks like. Interesting. It looks like there's nuts in it, I think.
Oh, it looks like a nougat sort
Sure,
of.
I've seen this. Okay, what do you think?
Is it good?
For anyone just listening, Dallas is pulling inquisitive faces from side to side.
He's trying to figure out what he likes about it or what he doesn't like.
The small sweet, it looks like
it's pistachio.
yeah, so it looks like it's a pistachio nougat sort of situation.
All right.
It's kind of like a Dubai chocolate.
It has pistachios in it, Dallas. That's about where we leave the Dubai behind.
I can't tell if I like it or don't like it. I'll finish it anyway.
Of course you will.
But Dallas, finish it soon because yours is the next segment. You have X-Peg in the Y hole.
So I have a segment
That it is pertinent to these.
That's
following
all right. Subtle.
So the next segment we have is called X Peg in the Y hole. So this is a Dallas segment. So what he's going to do is Dallas is going to give you a hypothetical situation, and you have to resolve this hypothetical situation using what I gave you in Do You Want This?
Yeah.
Now, when we do this, he doesn't know what I'm going to give you ahead of time, and I don't know what he's going to ask you ahead of time. So we enjoy the mismatch.
So my hypothetical to you, Jeff, is there's a glitch in the Matrix, and there is a clone of you. The only difference is you have the object, and your other clone does not have the object. How are you going to convince people that you're the real you and not the clone?
That's a good one.
Does the clone know everything I know?
Yes. Is it like identical to like this very minute?
Wow. No, I got nothing. Sorry.
And the clone has killed Jeff.
Okay, so now you answer the question.
How would you do it, Dallas?
How would you?
That's actually not.
Let's disregard the horror of there being two Dallases.
Oh, yeah. How do I know which one is me?
Do both have the blonde hair or just one have the red hair? I would hope to do it just by
Also-
being hospitable and being charitable and giving sweeties away to people would hopefully engender them to me.
Actually, you know what? I know how I would figure out which one's the real Dallas. I would take the candies, I would put them in my fridge, and I would invite each Dallas over to my house, and whichever one went right for my fridge and just started eating them without asking, that's the real Dallas.
Well, but presumably if the clone has all of Dallas's characteristics, then he'll that'll include
yes, it would be
behavior.
a mooch too.
Yeah, I think you're screwed.
Mooch point.
This might be like
Mooch point.
this might be like a paradox question than anything, really.
I also want to point out his reaction to this hypothetical was the same as Carl Pilkington's, which is he said, "How do I know which one I am?" That's amazing.
That's the best answer.
How do I know which one I am?
Alex, I hope you prepare me for the next segment though, because it is Wiki What Now.
Oh yeah, wiki what now? Do the next one first.
Okay, we'll do the next one first. The next one is just booze clues. Do you have any scary stories? I'll tell you what, either from your own life or from Saskatoon history. Any ghost stories, hauntings, uncanny events that have happened in your life, Jeff? Other than eating peanut butter lettuce sandwiches.
Yeah, no. Okay, so ghost stories. A long time ago, I was a security guard working in the provincial health building in Regina, right? And one of the jobs, I was working midnights, and one of the things I had to do was that we get a delivery every night about 2:30 in the morning. I don't know why 2:30 in the morning of human organs, which had to go back to the lab, right? There was a lab part at the back of the building, and this was an old building. The lab part was newer, but it was always dark. I'm the only person in it, and it moved around, right? On really cold nights, the elevators would go up and down by themselves. You would hear strange noises from the basement, and trying to go into the back, taking these human organs, like from dead people. And I'm just a kid, right? I'm like 19, and I got to go back to the freezer in the back, and it's dark, and it's like every time you're walking, you got that little. There might be that things are behind me sneaking up, and what's hiding behind me in the darkness kind of feeling. And then I'd get to the freezer, I'd put them in and slam it, and then run back to my security desk. Anyway, one night, so it scared the hell out of me all the time. One night, I hear a door close. and doors aren't. There's no doors closing in this building. I am the only one opening and closing doors, but I hear the sound. A door, clearly a big heavy door in the basement has closed, and I'm sitting there. I called the police right away because that's your job. They brought a dog in, but the first cops who'd come in had wandered around, and the K9 guy was grumping about that because they screwed everything up. And then they said, well, we can't find anything, so they leave. And then I hear the door close again. And I'm sitting there, and from the front lobby, there were like 2 doors into the office areas, but it had been all open, but they had closed it all off. Sorry, all the offices were open on the other side of the partition, but there were only 2 doors that led into them, right? And so I'm sitting there knowing that anybody could be anywhere in the main floor of the building and I wouldn't be able to see them. And suddenly I see the handle of the door closest to me start to turn. And my throat's in my chest and I'm just, oh my, and nothing. Finally, a guy comes from the physical plant up the way. And he said, oh, it's a valve. It was a valve in the heating system.
Oh.
And then what happened was when the furnaces went off, when the hot air stopped blowing, these valves would slam shut.
Right.
And it would sound like a door, exactly like a big heavy door being let to close. And so the whole thing with the handle moving, that was totally up here. That was totally my synapses creating
Or was
movement
it?
where there was nothing.
Yeah.
But it was so the building itself already had me spooked, and so it was really easy to take, to step over from spooked to invader, to possible, ghost.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It is still unnerving working in a place where they just hand you organs at midnight. That feels like the beginning of a horror story.
They were in a tube, right, in a freezer
I
tube.
didn't think they were just giving you them loose.
Yeah, no.
Or a newspaper.
I think it was stuff that was being sent in from recent deaths that was being sent to be tested for for infectious diseases, that kind of thing, something like that. I don't really remember because it was about more than 40 years ago. So
That's wild.
but that was actually kind of terrifying for a young guy. I've never really lived through a kind of seen a spectral form go through a wall once. Although one time, okay, so I lived in this house with some guys after high school. We called it the Abyss. It was a party house, and one night we got talking. Some of us were there. And we got talking about spectral travel.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you call it? Right, when you go out on the silver cord and blah blah blah.
Oh,
Anyway,
yes.
Yeah. So that kind of thing. And this one guy who was kind of a weirdo. A little weirder than we all play Dungeons and Dragons, okay? So anyway, this one guy says, "Oh yeah, I do that kind of thing all the time." He says, and we're like, "Yeah, whatever." He says, "Yeah, seriously." So the thing kind of keeps going on, and finally, I forget his name, and he kind of puts himself into a trance, and then he's making all these funny noises and kind of hunching around, and then suddenly his eyes fly open, and he says, "An evil spirit has followed me home. We have to seal the house." Okay, we're all 18. Right? There might have been some substances involved. It all seemed really reasonable right at the time. And so he needs salt, right? And so he's blessing all the doors and the windows, and then we need candles. And I guess it was the candles. I forget, we needed something that we didn't have. And so one of the guys lived in an apartment about a block away. So he and I went to his apartment, and we go in to find I guess it was a salt now I think of it, and the light won't work. I mean, what the hell? So I light a match, and we grab the salt, and the match goes out. And you've never seen two 18-year-olds run so fast. Anyway, we get back to the house, and they put us in this circle with all the salt around it, and he's doing all this chanting and stuff, and then as we make ready to fight off the spirit that had been, Anyway, I don't remember how that part of it ended. I just remember that everybody stayed that night.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody wanted to go home. And the next morning, it was a lot of that little, did we really do that last night? It was a little awkward the next day. So again, it was a function of the moment.
Yeah. That's
Mass
wonderful.
hysteria, I think, is the word.
I think so. Yeah. Well, there was only 4 of us, so not that mass.
Yeah.
Well, I think a mass murder is more than 3, so I think we can still call it mass hysteria.
I guess so. I think more like crowds and UFOs floating around. But yeah, sure, okay.
Okay, we can now.
Yeah, we can back up now to Wiki What Now. So this is a segment. It's very much like Who Dis. I go to the Wiki Roulette on the internet and I bring up a random Wikipedia article and I ask you if, not necessarily if you know anything about it, but if you can even bluff me anything about this. So your Wikipedia article is Mongolia at the 2022 World Games.
Oh yeah. So you know that Mongolia is a force in table tennis. China. What happened was China. In the 1960s and 70s, table tennis was getting very big, and China was looking for places where it could excel. And so the Chinese government put a lot of money into table tennis, literally. And so you look at all the top table tennis players in the world today are Chinese. Well, the Chinese have moved on from table tennis, so the mantle fell to Mongolia, which of course is part of China. Well, but you find your niche, right? And this is true with anything you could possibly imagine. You find a niche, something that not only is not filled, but something that you can fill. And there were a lot of unemployed table tennis coaches in China when China moved on to synchronized swimming and fencing, which is sort of the 2 big Chinese sports nowadays. And so table tennis became sort of the Mongolian option.
Well,
Verify.
it wasn't table tennis, but Mongolia did actually win 1 silver medal at the 2022
Wrestling?
Winter Olympics. Sumo.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
At the moment, almost all the top sumo wrestlers in Japan are Mongolian.
Yeah. Bazandorjan Badral won the silver medal in the men's open weight sumo wrestling in Birmingham, United States in
Wow.
July 2022.
Well, I never ever, I'm shattered because that just seems wrong. But okay.
Let's just assume he was a table tennis player before he took sumo wrestling.
Yeah, in his younger years.
Sumo.
I can imagine that. Jesus. I hope this
Sumo
isn't making a
tennis
huge
player.
noise every time I
Oh,
good.
well, you know they have chess
I'll fix it in
boxing.
post.
Oh, sumo table tennis.
Ping pong sumo.
Ping pong sumo.
Do you know what they call? Do you know what some? It's a slightly archaic term used mostly by members of the upper class. Do you know what they call it in the UK sometimes?
What?
Whiff waff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't. I want to.
I don't. I'm posh, but I don't.
Our last segment here for you is Red Flags of the Silver Screen. What is a film opinion that you have that you know is not popular, but you will stand by regardless?
My favorite movie of all time is Meatballs with Bill Murray. From 1980. It's about a kid's summer camp. It has not aged well.
No.
It is my all-time favorite movie ever.
I like some of those like 1980s Bill Murray. I mean, one of your favorites is Groundhog Day, but
Yep, it's my favorite movie.
I wouldn't say Meatballs is one of the stronger ones to survive that period. I'd much rather go with Stripes, and I still don't think Stripes is particularly strong.
Stripes was okay. I like Stripes. I mean, I like Bill Murray, but I loved Meatballs.
That's great.
I've probably seen it about 20 times.
That is a quintessential answer.
That's a
to that
fantastic
question,
answer.
Actually, that's fantastic.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff, for suffering us. Thank you very much for your insights. Thank you for bringing your book in and talking about it. If I ever see this, I'm definitely going to buy this.
Okay.
Thank you again, Somewhere Else, for hosting this place. Thank you so much to my co-host and producer for, co-hosting and producing.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Anytime.
much for listening once again to another episode of the Anything Else podcast. Thank you to Outsider Radio for distributing this.
Make sure you follow us on social media.
Yes, you
Make
can-
sure you save the podcast anywhere you stream podcasts. Make sure you find us there and save it, and click that little bell or whatever the equivalent is anywhere else, so you get notified when new episodes drop.
And not to sound like Dallas's sleep paralysis demon, but big things coming soon. So keep an eye on what we're doing. Jeff, have you got anything you'd like to plug other than find the book in secondhand bookstores and look out for any future endeavors that might be coming to first-hand bookstores soon?
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I just want to say thank you, and thank you for these lovely candies.
Thank you to the country of Iran for providing such wonderful confectionery.
And nothing else.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.